I'm Dave Foy, and a warm welcome back to this two-part series of my recommended Bricks add-ons. It's the antidote to feeling confused and overwhelmed by the huge amount of Bricks add-ons out there. If you haven't seen part one, you better rectify that first. I'm British, and I insist that things are done in the correct order. Link up here somewhere, I hope, and I've dropped the link to part one in the description as well for your viewing convenience and pleasure. Here are the categories again. We did frameworks and template libraries last time, so this time, it's the rest of them. And remember, I'm being highly selective. I'm only picking the add-ons that I think are well worth considering. Let me know in the comments if I've missed any of your favorites. Oh, and if I make a mistake anywhere, let me know below as well. I'll add any corrections to a pinned comment and also in the description too. And remember, I've made you a PDF cheat sheet of all my recommended add-ons. It's got bullet point reminders of the various pros and cons of them all. Pop over to davefoy.link/bricks-add-ons and let me know where to send it. All right, let's do this. First, utilities. So these are those add-ons that provide really useful workflow enhancements to make you faster and more efficient and bring extra functionality when working with Bricks. First, Bricks Navigator. A Bricks Navigator is a completely free little utility. It just makes it much easier to navigate around Bricks. It's made by Sridhar Katakam. Yep, he's the guy with the Bricks links list that you saw in part one. Link to that again below. Sri is super knowledgeable and helpful in the Bricks community. Let's take a look. You see, normally in Bricks, there's quite a lot of clicking around all over the place in the WordPress admin, but Bricks Navigator makes all of this so much easier. And it's one of those plugins, once you have it, you'll install it on every project. It's up here in the admin bar, which of course is there on every page. Bricks settings, jump straight to any of the settings tabs. Bricks templates, jump straight to any of them from here, even in a new tab. Yeah, all right, this site's got a lot of templates. Pages, straight to edit any of them with Bricks. And there are even links to a load of useful resources like the Bricks Academy, the forum, the Facebook group, and also a load of community resources. Basically, things like add-ons and courses. Speaking of which, this is my Bricks course. Nice. Oh, and also in plugin settings. So I can jump straight to my ACSS and advanced theme plugin settings because I have those installed, but also in Bricks Navigator settings, you can choose to show the WP admin bar while you're in the Bricks editor as well, not just the WordPress admin area, which makes things even more efficient. Now, of course, all of this shaves just a few seconds off your time each time that you use it, but over a year, that adds up to a big saving of 12,658 days a year. Wait, what? Oh, while we're here, by the way, one of Sridhar's projects that isn't in this video, because it's not an add-on, is Bricks Labs. Bricks Labs is a collection of a huge amount of Bricks tutorials going deep into all kinds of clever stuff. Well worth you checking out. All right, next add-on that I highly recommend you check out is the mighty Advanced Themer. I've dropped the link to the website below, but you already knew that. So the big question, what is it? Well, Advanced Themer is best described as a quality of life utility. It improves your quality of life day to day as a Bricks developer. I am simplifying a lot here, but it basically adds extra options to the Bricks Builder UI to make your life easier, make you more efficient, and increase your productivity. It's a bit like the Bricks editor on steroids. The developer, Maxime, is an absolute powerhouse. I mean, he's releasing brand new features pretty much every week, it seems. Sometimes it can be a bit hard to keep up. But the good thing is, you can turn features on or off in the settings panel here. So you only need to see and use what you need to see and use. Now, as a newbie, it is easy to be confused about what Advanced Themer does because it does so many things. And I would say that a lot of the amazing time-saving functionality that Advanced Themer provides, you won't appreciate until you've used Bricks on its own quite a bit first. But once you have used Bricks a bit, like you've spent time adding elements to the canvas, working in the structure panel, adding and managing classes and styles, that kind of thing, then you'll wonder how the hell you've managed without it, because it just makes all of that kind of thing so much easier and more powerful. It is so, so good. I don't use Bricks without Advanced Themer anymore. Now, before I give you an overview of its many, many features, let's just get one burning question out of the way. Is Advanced Themer a framework? No, it's not. Well, all right, part of Advanced Themer's huge amount of functionality is some lightweight framework kind of functionality, as you'll soon see. And so, yeah, Some people do build their own lightweight framework with those particular features in our advanced themer, and they don't bother with a separate framework add-on at all, which is totally fine. But really, advanced themer is intended to work alongside those framework add-ons, not in competition with them. They're quite different tools. It's not a choice of advanced themer or ACSS, for example. You can totally use both. I do. Oh, and also a related question asked very often, what settings do I need to make advanced themer and ACSS work together properly? Well, no, you don't need to set anything in advanced themer to make both of those add-ons coexist. They coexist perfectly happily as they are. They don't clash, so you can stop worrying. Anyway, this is just an overview of Bricks add-ons and an overview of Advanced Themer today, but I am going to make a separate video very soon on how I use Advanced Themer, so subscribe to be notified. You know what to do. So up here in the nav, these are like the main categories of features. First, color management. Advanced Themer extends and improves Bricks' standard color palette functionality with its own custom color palette UI. It generates dynamic variables for color rather than the basically hard-coded static color values that Bricks uses natively, much more flexible. Advanced Themer's color palette is much easier to see and use. It's easy to drag and drop and rename and duplicate colors, and the color picker itself is much improved over the native Bricks picker. You can also add colors with alpha channels or transparencies. And this bit here is like a framework. So you can generate a whole set of tints and shades and transparencies from a given color. You can use this slider to create up to 20 different options in the scale. And if you need more than 20, you might need to rethink your color scheme, maybe. And all sorts of other features like an advanced scale generator. That's if you need to create things like gradient color scales for more complicated color schemes. And an automatic dark mode generator, which is very clever. It calculates the opposite dark mode version of your existing light mode colors. But you also have full manual control to tweak any of the automatically generated colors. Anyway, there are some brilliant enhancements to the standard Bricks color palette and some superb color framework capabilities as well. Personally, I use Advanced Themer's enhanced dynamic color palette, but not the framework auto-generated color scale stuff. And that's because I use ACSS, and I'm really happy with the color framework features that I have there. But there's no right or wrong way. And really, with all these options we have, what a time to be alive. And then there's a ton of CSS variables functionality. And these are the other features that are like a lightweight framework builder. There's a built-in variables manager actually inside the Bricks editor, which allows you to, on the fly, easily create your own static variables or even fluidly responsive variables with all the clamp calculations done for you. And then in the back end in Advanced Themer settings panel, you can create your own fluidly responsive typography scale, spacing scale, border radius scale, as well as create your own border and box shadow variables, and a whole set of responsive width variables as well, along with the ability to create whatever custom variables that you want as well. Of course, the forthcoming Bricks 1.9.8 is going to have a built-in variables manager of its own, but Advanced Themer is going to integrate with that seamlessly, as well as providing more advanced variable management. I don't personally use these CSS variables and fluidly responsive scale features because I use ACSS and it handles all of that. So I actually just turned the CSS variables feature in Advanced Themer off completely. To be clear though, you don't have to turn them off. Nothing's going to clash or break if you leave them on. It just keeps the settings panel nice and clean and focused on only what I'm using. It's nothing more than that. For me and my own workflow, managing styles and classes and the builder tweaks are where Advanced Themer really shines. Now again, this is just an overview video, so I'm skimming quickly over these. For styles and classes, in the builder there's a contextual class menu. So when you're editing any element, you can access all of this functionality really quickly and easily. I mean, yep, it might seem a bit overwhelming if you're new to working with classes, but it is incredibly helpful once you're used to it. You can write Sass in the CSS panel for any element, or even at the page level, or even at the global level. If you know how to write Sass, you know. If you don't, just ignore. Advanced Themer also has a class manager, which lets you add and edit and rename and reorder and duplicate and categorize your site-wide classes in one window. And yes, Bricks does have its own class manager now as well. Advanced Themer's version is similar, but just with much more in-depth features. And you can use both, no worries. Or you can just turn the Bricks one off if you like. That's in Bricks settings in the general tab and disable global class manager. The style overview of all styles on an element, either at the ID level or classes, and at all breakpoints, is very handy. Just the other day, on the first Bricks site that I ever built, I discovered an embarrassing amount of styles set at the ID level, but it was very easy to find them and fix them here. The class converter is amazingly powerful for when you want to automatically create BEM classes for elements in the structure panel. Powerful, like it even allows you to rename nested standalone components separately to the main BEM structure. Like for example, remember this FR intro alpha block from the framed bit of the part 1 video in this series? Well, just like this example here, you might not want to automatically BEM name everything from the top level section class name. You might have some separate reusable components, like this, that need their own separate BEM block name. Well, Advanced Thema makes that really easy. It allows you to designate blocks like this as needing their own separate BEM naming. In the structure panel, you can have these little colored indicators, which are really handy to see which elements have styles set on classes, they're blue, and which have styles set on the ID, they're red. Kind of like red for danger, I guess. So that's just another way to instantly catch whether there's any styles set at the ID level that you may or may not want to set on a class instead. And if you do, well, Advanced Thema makes that easy as well, as you'll see. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to skip forward a bit. Oh yeah, the ability to extend an element's classes or styles to other elements comes in very handy sometimes. So let's say that you have a particular width set on a container, for example, and you want all other containers on the page to have that same width style. Well, there's no manual work required. You just extend that style in one swoop. And now this is a great feature. So when you're adding styles to an element, you don't have to worry about creating a class first. You can just style the element at the ID level, like some crazy maverick free spirit. And then afterwards, simply one-click import all of those ID styles to a class instead. And a load of other things to help you work much more efficiently with styles and classes. So yeah, pretty sweet. And this is the kind of functionality I personally use a lot. But that's not all, folks. There's a whole load of tweaks to the Bricks builder as well. Now in settings here, you also have a lot of very fine-grained control over which tweaks you want to enable or not. So you only need to tweak what you want to tweak. And that's a whole lot of tweaking. I'm not going to go through every one of these one by one because I assume that you have more things to do today than just watch this video. So I'm going to kind of whiz down and just cherry pick a few to give you a taster. Okay, so this is a big one. An actual visual drag and drop CSS grid builder. I mean, come on. Now the implementation of CSS grid in Bricks is fine, but having to basically write CSS grid code isn't ideal. Whereas this is superb. This feature is one that you'll wonder how you did without. You can add a load of shortcuts to your most often used elements to the right-hand side of the structure panel. So you can add them with one click. Think of things like sections, containers, headings, text, buttons, images, that kind of thing. I find it's even quicker than adding them via keyboard shortcuts. Oh, and there are just so many other brilliant, thoughtful little tweaks to what you can do in the builder. I'm going to let you check the rest of this out for yourself. But just quickly, there is some inbuilt AI stuff and also a strict editor view, which just basically gives you more control over what your clients are able to see and use within the Bricks editor. Sure, in Bricks settings, you can set which user level is able to use Bricks generally. So for example, if you give your client editor level permissions, you can set whether they have 0 access to Bricks, meaning that they won't even see it as an option, or access to Bricks, but they can edit the content on the Bricks pages only. But the strict editor view feature in Advanced Thema allows you to provide more access for your clients, but also more tightly control what they can see and do. Personally, I believe it's insanity to let clients anywhere near the Bricks editor, especially now that we have add-ons like GutenBricks, which is coming up soon. But if you absolutely must, give people with 0 web design experience access to a professional web design interface, then at least this strict editor view feature helps potentially restrict the damage. Anyway, as I say, a video on how I use Advanced Thema is coming up soon. You can even get yourself on my email list at davefoy.link/email because my email list get the news first. Again, if you haven't used Bricks a lot, then a lot of what Advanced Thema does won't make much sense. And if that's the case, you probably don't need Advanced Thema until you have some Bricks experience under your belt. Pricing? And these prices are a steal, I tell you. For what you get, the time that you save, and all the efficiencies and the extra productivity you'll gain. Maxime, the developer, runs a fantastic Facebook support group. He's constantly in there helping customers out, asking for feedback, listening to suggestions, and dropping cheeky little teasers for new features. So if you want my permission to get Advanced Themer, definitely get Advanced Themer, especially if you're at a level where you'll benefit from it. I very highly recommend it, and I use it on every Bricks site. Okay, another utility add-on that I can recommend is Bricksforge. Bricksforge is another Swiss Army knife kind of tool that does an absolute ton of stuff. You'll see lots of people in the Bricks community raving about Bricksforge, and the developer is very well respected indeed. But what does Bricksforge do? Well, a bit of everything. Although I think it's fair to say it's for the more intermediate to advanced users. I think of Bricksforge as being a bit like a collection of about 5 or 6 completely different add-ons all bundled into one. So if you like your plugins to do one thing really well, then maybe Bricksforge isn't for you. But it does do all the things that it does very well indeed. And some people happily pay for Bricksforge, even though they're only using maybe 1 or 2 of its features. So I'm going to cover Bricksforge's utility features in this bit of the video, but you're going to see Bricksforge a few times later on as well. So in terms of its utility kind of features, it has a builder customizer, which allows you to customize what you see in the Bricks interface based on user roles. Similar to Advanced Themer's strict editor view, you can import CSS code and it'll add those classes into Bricks for you, ready to use in the Bricks editor. Again, like Advanced Themer's import CSS feature. This incorporates a little lightweight framework as well. Animation, I'm going to skip for now because we have a whole animation category later on. There's the Bricksforge panel and the terminal, which are developer tools that allow you to do more complex stuff. Another major reason people use Bricksforge is for the forms, but we'll come back to this when we get to forms later on. And you also get a more advanced pop-up builder. Bricksforge comes with a whole set of extra Bricks elements, which I'll look at this again when we come to elements add-ons next. There's a whole back-end designer tool allowing you to design and build custom login screens, custom admin areas for clients. There's a dedicated email designer to design your email templates with Bricks, all sorts. So if you find yourself hitting brick walls with native Bricks functionality, brick walls, Bricks, get it? Never mind. Then Bricksforge really does give you the flexibility and control to do much more advanced stuff in so many different areas. If you're at that more advanced level, you'll appreciate it. Pricing, that's here. You can check this out for yourself. The link is below this video as always. And if you want to give Bricksforge a try before you buy, you can create your very own Playground WordPress install, a bit like Bricks itself offers. That has Bricksforge installed already for you to have a play around. And the last utility is Happy Files. Now this isn't a Bricks add-on as such, but one, the developer is Thomas Ehrig, who is also the developer of Bricks. But more importantly, it is so very, very useful while working with Bricks. Now the primary usage of Happy Files, I suppose, is upgrading your experience working with the media library, allowing you to organize your images in your files in folders. You just create a new folder here. I'll give it a name. Every site needs a cats folder, right? And hit enter. And then you can just drag and drop files and images into them. So much easier to manage. Don't worry, doing this doesn't change the URL or the file path of any of your images or your files. But what I find Happy Files especially useful for is that you can also organize custom post types with it as well. And with Bricks, that means being able to organize Bricks templates, which I've already done here. Because on this site especially, I have 44 templates. Crikey. Now sure, you can assign templates to bundles and tags, which also has its place, but just being able to tame the chaos with folders is a lifesaver. Anyway, 59 bucks one time for this awesome little utility that you can use on as many sites as you want is pretty much a no-brainer. You should get it. So that's utilities. Next, elements. Elements in Bricks are all these things here, and elements add-ons just give you more elements for you to use. Starting with my #1 recommendation, BricksExtras. This is by that Stridhar Katakam fella again. You remember him from the Bricks links list? Him and David Brown, both superb devs. These are very high quality elements with a ton of functionality. You don't have to code yourself. Very often people ask questions in the community about how to achieve certain functionality, and very often Bricks Elements has an element in its library that does the trick. And also very recently added, I think, are a range of pre-built element conditions. These make it really easy to add dynamic conditions to your Bricks elements, any Bricks elements, without having to hunt and peck through menus or write your own. There are even conditions for all the popular membership plugins and WooCommerce as well. I mean, if you have the misfortune of having to use WooCommerce, then at least this makes it a little bit easier. Check it out for yourself. If you find that you need particular extra elements to get the job done, BricksExtras is very, very well worth your time. And like with Bricksforge, you can create a free playground to test out the elements before you buy. And the prices are here. So there's an annual fee and there's a lifetime deal if that appeals to you more. Another elements library is Mike's Add-Ons. These again are well-coded elements with a particular focus on performance. Now, I don't use Mike's Add-Ons myself, but they are often highly recommended by people that I completely trust. And here's the pricing. And I did say that we'd be back to Bricksforge. You see, as well as the utility features that I mentioned just now, Bricksforge also comes with a whole set of extra Bricks elements with a focus on nestable elements. So you have a lot more flexibility. If you're familiar with the default nestable elements in Bricks, like the nestable nav, tabs, slider, then you'll know what this means. And the last elements library I'll mention is Bricksable. I haven't used it, but I'm told by people that I trust that the elements are well coded, they're fast, and there's a focus on performance. But the big news here is that these elements are, wait for it, free. Yep, no charge, which weirdly the website doesn't even mention. Okay, next category, Gutenberg. Bit weird having a Gutenberg category in a video about Bricks add-ons? No, it's not. This is for add-ons that help you use and integrate Bricks with Gutenberg. And right now, this is a category of one, the absolutely brilliant GutenBricks. I made another video recently showing you the basics of how to use GutenBricks. There should be a link to that above. Oh, there it is. Basically, GutenBricks allows you to create Gutenberg blocks with bricks. Why would you want to do that? Well, as I said earlier, we don't want our clients anywhere near the Bricks editor. What we want clients to do is use the Gutenberg block editor, which is what they're supposed to use. It allows them to create and edit content. The block editor is good for that at least. Well, mostly anyway. So GutenBricks allows us to create all the Gutenberg blocks our clients might need. We create those as Bricks templates. That way, we as developers precisely control the design and the layout of our clients' blocks. And clients can then add our pre-designed Gutenberg blocks to any of their posts and pages. They can edit the content, they can change the content, no problem, but they cannot edit the design. They can't edit the layout or the styling or the colors, and you control the design of each block that you make for them from one master template, site-wide. That means any design changes are going to update instantly wherever the client has used that block across the site, but the content that the client added to each block won't be affected. It's amazing. Now there's a whole ton of other features I haven't time to go into here. That's just the core feature. Check out the website, join the free Facebook support group, and you can thank me later. Now, you might be thinking, hang on Dave, Bricks is about to release a components feature soon, probably in 2.0 we're guessing, and that will do something similar, yes, except Bricks components are going to be for the Bricks editor only. I'm fairly certain that you're not going to be able to use Bricks components in Gutenberg, at least not yet. Of course, at some point in future, Bricks might roll out that feature, but I don't think it's on the roadmap for a good while yet. Here's the current pricing. At the time of me recording, these are all one-off lifetime deal prices, but I know that soon they'll be going to a subscription model. Next, animation add-ons. Now, I'm not big on animation personally. I don't mind a few subtle bits of animation, but there has recently been a big surge in highly animated websites. Bricks itself does allow some basic animation of elements with CSS only, but I'm about to show you first one add-on that lets you take that CSS-based animation further, and then two other add-ons that take animation to a whole new level with JavaScript-powered animation and motion effects. So first, fancy animations. This is an excellent CSS animation framework. It's a very lightweight script, superb performance, so it won't slow your pages down, and it allows you to very easily create some nice page interaction animations with CSS only. The price right now is $89 one time for up to 500 website activations. That should see you right for quite some time. Next, Motion.page or Motion.page. I'm never quite sure. Motion.page, I'll go with that, is the big daddy in this field. It's not actually a Bricks add-on as such, but it works with any WordPress page builder and any WordPress theme. including Bricks. It uses the GSAP JavaScript animation library, which is just a few small JavaScript files that let you create animations that are far, far in advance of anything that you can do in Bricks natively or with CSS animation. Now sure, you can use JavaScript to code this stuff by hand if you're crazy, but Motion.page makes it easy for anyone. No code required. Pricing details are here, all animated of course. And back to Bricksforge again. I said it was versatile. One of the big reasons people love Bricksforge is for its animation capabilities, which again provides a front-end UI for the GSAP animation library. Next, dynamic content. As you know, working with dynamic data is one of Brick's strong points. And what's great about Bricks is, unlike other builders that I won't name, Elementor, you don't need a load of other add-ons just to be able to build even a simple dynamic website. We've got the ability to build query loops, nested loops, conditions, custom queries. It's all superb. However, there are still some add-ons that you're going to need to create dynamic websites. First, ACF, Advanced Custom Fields. You probably already know what this is. ACF has been around a long time, but basically it allows you to create custom fields, which are pretty much essential for dynamic websites, as well as more complex stuff like relationships, options pages, etc. And you can now create your custom post types with ACF as well, because let's be honest, the two do kind of go together. I know that some people recommend MetaBox for this particular kind of functionality. MetaBox is kind of an ACF alternative. Nothing wrong with MetaBox, but A, I think that their quite attractive lifetime deal a while ago might have something to do with that. And B, MetaBox has always allowed you to create custom post types, whereas ACF did not, until relatively recently anyway. However, you might also want to consider ACPT, that's Advanced Custom Post Types, instead of Advanced Custom Fields. And as far as I know, I haven't used it, but it seems to do most, if not all, of what ACF does. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it is quite a bit cheaper. So for example, it's just shy of $100 a year to use ACPT on unlimited websites, whereas ACF is nearly $250 a year for unlimited sites. Anyway, a lot of people seem to be liking ACPT as well, so there's another option for you. And finally, WP Grid Builder. With Bricks 1.9.6 came a new experimental feature to allow us to provide front-end filtering, sorting, and live search functionality. But before this, we turned to WP Grid Builder. Don't worry about the building grid layouts thing. Yeah, we can do that in Bricks. What's important is the real-time, faceted dynamic querying, filtering, sorting, and live search functionality. Let's come to the demo. It'll be clearer what it does. Think like a product listing where you offer visitors faceted filtering and searching of the list. Facets are just these categories like product styles, brands, etc. Visitors can sort the list however they want, they can live search for the product they want. And this is great, because while a lot of this basic functionality is in Bricks now, it is still at the experimental phase where you shouldn't use it on a live site, at least at the time of recording. And WP Grid Builder's offering is still a much more fully featured and more dedicated solution than what we have in Bricks, at least right now. Next, Code Manager plugins. Code Manager plugins are great for when you need to add extra code to your site, like some extra CSS, or declaring new CSS variables, or adding tracking code, or adding PHP functions. I mean, okay, sure, you should ideally be adding all of that in files in a child theme on the server. But if you don't have a clue how to do that, that's okay, because you can just add and work with this kind of code using a Code Manager plugin in the WordPress admin area instead, where it's totally not scary at all. Here are two options I can recommend. The first is WPCodeBox, link below, of course. You can see here in my own website, I have a few code snippets. They're all neatly organized in folders because I'm a bit of a neat freak. So in CSS, I have my global CSS. In embeds, there's just a few bits of embed code for different services that I use. Facebook ads is obviously the tracking code for any ads that we have running. Fathom is the brilliant privacy-focused analytics software that I use. And you can see here that you can easily enable or disable any of these snippets from running with just one click. And if I just create a new snippet quickly here, so you have a whole range of different types of code that you can run. PHP, CSS, even SCSS or Sass, which is great to have a Sass parser built in like this. And you can set conditions for when these snippets will run. So let's pick a snippet here. And if I open the condition builder for this snippet, see here, I only want this snippet to load in the HTML when someone visits this URL. Oh, and there's a cloud snippets feature too. So, if you have a load of client websites, you can just share the same snippets across every website that you're using WPCodeBox on. Back to the website. Let's check out the pricing. So here's the current pricing. It's all annual subscription pricing. Now, an alternative recent newcomer to the world of code manager plugins is Fluent Snippets. Fluent Snippets is actually free, which is a bonus, obviously. But the real selling point of Fluent Snippets is that all your snippets are saved in actual files on the server. All the other code manager plugins, including WPCodeBox, save the snippets in the WordPress database, which is slower because your site has to make database queries to pull them in. But also, in saving your snippets as plain text files on the server, there's a lot less of a security risk as well. Basically, in comparison to other code manager plugins, Fluent Snippets is very secure and it's as fast as you're going to get. And you can actually disable and even uninstall the plugin, which puts your code snippets in what they call standalone mode, which means if you really don't want an extra plugin running or you're worried about plugin vendor lock-in, no need to worry. And did I mention that it's free? You have the same ability to create all the snippets for a range of code, PHP functions, HTML content, CSS, JavaScript. The only downside that I can see in relation to WPCodeBox is that the CSS doesn't have the option of rendering Sass. So if you want to use this to write SCSS, you're out of luck. Now to forms. Of course, Bricks itself natively comes with form building elements, and they are pretty good, except they're a bit limited. And that is okay, because potentially the level of functionality you could require from forms might be pretty complex. And so some people don't bother with Bricks native forms at all, and they just always use a third-party form plugin. If you need more complex forms, especially like a lot of conditional logic, multi-step forms, showing and hiding fields based on if a field is filled in or not, repeater field groups, all that kind of thing, then you're going to need a solid forms add-on. 3 recommendations for you. WS Form is a seriously powerful and brilliant forms plugin from a seriously brilliant developer, Mark Westgard. And if you don't value the opinion of these guys, then I can't help you. WS Form does so many things. I can't begin to read them all out to you, so I'm just going to let you do that yourself. WS Form integrates very nicely with Bricks, and it also integrates with a massive amount of other services as well. Now, for some of those integrations, you get them bundled in anyway, depending on which level of package that you buy. So for example, I integrate WS Form with Bento. Bento is the email marketing automation provider that we use. So I could pay an extra $19 a year, or I could just get it bundled in with the agency edition anyway, which is $249 a year. And that is for use on unlimited sites and with all the add-ons that you could possibly want. This is a majorly good deal for unlimited sites with the kind of functionality that this add-on allows you to provide. Or if I wanted to just use WS Form on one site, I could pay just $59 a year, and then just pay the extra $19 just for the Bento integration, if that's all I need. Oh, another little bonus, if you're an ACSS user, ACSS integrates really nicely and seamlessly with WS Form. So styling your forms is easy, and the styling of your forms just falls in with your site's existing ACSS typography and spacing defaults. All right, as a Bricks user especially, another add-on that you might want to check out is Bricksforge. Yep, remember Bricksforge? It does a lot of stuff, and advanced forms functionality is another major reason that people use Bricksforge. You get way more advanced form functionality, way beyond native Bricks forms. If you already use a third-party form tool like WS Form, then I'm not sure how much extra Bricksforge brings to the table. And I guess it just depends on what your needs are. But many people say the forms are the main reason that they love Bricksforge so much. And my last forms recommendation is Fluent Forms. It is very highly recommended, very often in the Bricks community when people are asking around for form add-on recommendations. I'm not going to go into the features and pros and cons because, quite frankly, I've never used it. But I'll let you check out the website yourself for the lowdown. And that's it. One last time, I'll send you a PDF cheat sheet of all my recommended add-ons. It's got bullet point reminders for why you may or may not want to choose each of them. To get yours, just head to davefoy.link/BricksAddons. Let me know where to send it, and I'll send it. If you enjoyed this video, a like, thumbs up thing would be lovely, and drop me a comment and let me know if you use and love any of the add-ons that I've covered, or if I missed one of your favorites, or anything else you think I missed. I'll see you soon.